In this video, I want to talk about the best strategy for solving for x in algebra or geometry or any math class you're in that really just gives us the best way to eliminate little mistakes. All right, first thing, I'm going to use this to kind of help us remember subtraction. Okay, here's what I mean by that. We're going to go through everywhere there was a subtraction, and I'm going to change it to be adding a negative. And a lot of times, this is just a way to eliminate missing a negative, to just kind of give you a pause to say, okay, what's happening here? Where are the negatives? Where do I need to remember those? So I've changed all of the subtraction to be adding a negative. That's step one. Next, we are going to get rid of the parentheses. Okay, now the way we do that, of course, is to distribute. So we've got 3 times x plus 2 becomes 3x plus 6. Then we've got 4 times x plus negative 2, which becomes 4x plus negative 8. And then we've got negative 5 times x plus negative 9, which becomes negative 5x. And then a negative times a negative is positive, so we have plus 45 all over 2. We have now gotten rid of the parentheses. Next step, we are going to get rid of our fractions. We want to eliminate all the dividing. Now, if this were a situation where we had one fraction equal to one fraction, I would just cross multiply. But that's not the situation here. We've got multiple fractions. The best way to strategically to solve for that is to get one denominator for everything, a common denominator everywhere. Now, I typically think about just multiplying maybe the two largest and then seeing if the smallest will go into it. So 7 times 4 would be 28. 2 also goes into 28. So 28 is a denominator that will work for everything. So I'm going to make every denominator equal to 28 through multiplication. That was 4 times 7. Whatever I do to the top or the bottom, I have to do to the top. It was 7 times 4. So again, 7. And it's 14 times 2. Like that. So let's go through and write those new numerators. So 4 times 3x plus 6 becomes 12x plus 24. 7 times 4x plus negative 8 becomes 28x plus negative 56. And then 14x plus 45 becomes negative 70x plus 630. I used my calculator. Now, all of this, everything, is divided by 28. But because everything is divided by 28, almost think about it this way. If I had said, okay, everything is divided by 28, everything is divided by 28, the way to get rid of multiplying by 28, or excuse me, dividing by 28, is to multiply both sides by 28. So I don't really even need to think about the denominator, because now that they're all the same, I can just ignore them and solve the numerator. Okay? Next, we're going to simplify the sides. Okay? So combine anything that can be combined. So you'll notice I have a 12x plus 28x. That makes a total of 40x. I have a 24 plus a negative 56, so like the opposite of 56. So it's 24 minus 56, it's minus 32. The other side is already simplified. I don't need to do anything to that. Next, we are going to add. I'm also going to put subtract to get all the x's on one side and the non-x's to the other side. So to do that, I would say I want the x's all on the left. They can be on the right as well, but I just usually prefer to move the x's left. So I've got 110x, and I'm going to add the 32 to both sides. So equals 662. So we add or subtract to get our x's on one side and non-x's on the other side. And our last step is to multiply or divide to solve. Well, I have 110 times x. I'm going to divide both sides by 110 so that I just have x equals. And you could type that in and get a decimal, or you could reduce it. They're both divisible by 2, so I could write 331 over 55. That's as simple as it gets. And now we have solved for x. So let's just run through this one more time. Subtraction. Change all of your minuses to adding a negative. This will help you remember the correct signs for the next few steps. Do that. Then get rid of the parentheses. Distribute into the parentheses. If you have multiple parentheses, start with the inside and work your way out. Next, get rid of fractions. The best way to do it is to get a denominator for everything. By the way, if something were here that wasn't a fraction, let's say we just had like a 2x over here, put it over 1 and include it. Make it look like a fraction. But get one denominator for everything, and then you can ignore it. If everything's being divided by the same number, that means the numerators must be equivalent. Once you've ignored the denominator, simplify the sides. Look and say, okay, I have a 12x and a 28x, so this side has 40x. I have a 24 plus negative 56, so this side has a minus 32. The other side was good. But simplify the sides. Finally, add or subtract. So I brought the x's left. I brought the non-x's to the right. We get rid of them by doing the opposite. So it was a minus 32. I added 32. It was a minus 70x. I added 70x. And finally, we multiply or divide to get our final answer. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe for more math help, and drop a comment on other things you'd like me to make a video about.